There's a new challenger Kai'Sa build in Korea from a Chinese Kai'Sa OTP that made her go from one of the worst performing ADCs to an A-tier ADC. This is the content creator from China that created this build, and he is one of the only players who has consistently gone to Challenger Korea with Kai'Sa only. I will link his OBG in the descriptions below, and this build is very powerful because there are little counters to it and it's very straightforward and extremely easy to play. So what is the build? It's Static Shiv into Essence Reaver as the two core items that you cannot replace. Static Shiv is a quick power spike that allows you to get through lane and wave clear easily. It is a very good stat stick and a good tempo item to help you get to your second item. And Essence Reaver is essentially a replacement for Mana Immune because it will give you infinite mana and some ability haste for your spells. The components will also get you Q Evolve at Static Shiv, Pickaxe plus Longsword. Then, by default, go Shadow Flame third, because the components will get you W Evolve and the items itself work pretty well with Kai'Sa. However, you can replace Shadow Flame with basically any AP item that you need as long as you will be going full AP. This build basically focuses on giving you Q Evolve in the early game, then after 2 items you will be going full mage mode with AP items only. If you go Shadow Flame third, you can go items like Nashers, Horizon Focus, Rabdons, Banshees, or Zanyas for the rest of your build depending on what you need and the champions you're playing against. For runes, we will be primarily using this PTA page for 90% of the games. The only thing that could be really different is changing PTA to Fleet Footwork for hard matchups like against double ranged and you don't have a reliable support for engage. However, 90% of the times, PTA is better because there's a lot of fighting in this meta and PTA is better for fighting than Fleet Footwork is. Legend Haste is good because we're essentially going to be playing Kai'Sa as a mage, so we want her spells on a lower cooldown. And Magical Footwear for the free boots because we will sit on those boots for at least 3 items. Normally he doesn't complete any of his boots until he at least has Shadow Flame or Shadow Flame components completed for W Evolve. You don't need to upgrade boots ASAP, but if you do it, it will often either be Magic Pen boots or Ability Haste boots. And Jack of all trades is just the best rune because it gives you 10 ability haste plus 25 AP at around 3 items. So it's basically just a lot of stats for free, which will be even better with the build that we're going because we're buying so many random stats. From AD to attack speed to AP to magic pen, it's all going to be useful and count towards the Jack of all trade stacks. Without further ado, let's get into game so I can show you how this build is the best Kai'Sa build right now. It's Enryu and we're currently playing Kai'Sa Rel versus Victor Karma, so my Rel goes in here. We can't really do anything though because Rel level 1 is pretty weak, I would say, right? We don't really have follow-up against double range, so I chose not to walk up and I chose to just hit the wave instead because wave power is more important when you're playing against longer range champions in the lane. If you can get level 2 before them, it kind of just negates their advantage. So right here, as my Rel is taking poke damage though, I can't let her take damage for free, so I have to trade. If they get close to me, then they lose their range advantage, I can just auto them down, and I make sure to proc my passive here for the most damage possible. And now that we are level 2, like Rel kind of engages without warning onto the Victor, didn't expect that, but I still have to trade, right? Proc my passive and PTA again, try to get the best trade possible. And then we recall. So we come back to lane. We recalled because Victor has TP. I didn't want to be stuck in the lane when he comes back full health. And we still get most of the CS anyway since our wave was pushed in, so it was a fine recall. So the key thing here is to always try to proc PTA on a trade and just leave, right? Take a short trade with PTA, you get damage advantage and just run away. Unless you can proc your passive. Your 5-hit passive does a lot of damage, so if you can do that, then keep going for the auto. But if not, just back off. Kai'Sa's trade patterns are pretty much either you want to auto Q, which is kind of like the best trade you can get, or you want to try and proc PTA, and if it's more extended than that, then try to hit your passive proc. So we recalled and we bought a dagger and longsword. We come back to lane. The wave is like pretty stacked for the enemy team, but we find a way to actually proc our W into our passive PTA proc here, so it's very good trade, right? Victor's half health. I think this gank is a little bit awkward though. Karma Flash, I think we should have taken this probably. Rel ends up dying. And I didn't flash the Viego Q flash as well, so I mean I died. It's all good though. Now it's currently 11 minutes. Nothing much really happened for the past few minutes. It was just my teammates dying. And now we find a W angle on the Victor, and since we're level 6, we have ult, we can just go straight in. Flash the Victor ult to make sure we don't die here. We get pretty lucky, I would say, because we live with 1 HP. But this is really good for us. I come back to lane with pickaxe. I still don't have Q evolve yet because I didn't have enough gold for longsword. Viego's down here again to guarantee that they get the turret, right? I think this is first turret, so nothing much to do. We just have to be patient. Ro lands a good engage on the Victor here, so we're just going to keep chasing. Ro has her W up soon, so she's going to bring the Victor back, and we get the kill. So 2 kills right now. We're pretty well farmed. We can definitely carry because this build scales really, really hard, right? Static into essence. And once we get that W evolve, we can start to take over fights. So play to our advantage here. Don't have to int, don't have to... And we can just be patient. Our teammates win a fight here. That's really good for our game. We're just going to keep pushing. Get turret plates if we can. If we can't, just back off, right? It's fine. And since the enemies are dead, we're going to take this Ocean Drake right here. Getting 1 Drake in the early game is usually really good because that kind of guarantees that the enemies can't stack 4 dragons really, really quickly. Getting 1 Drake really ruins the temples if the temple of the enemy team if they're trying to stack the dragons. And after that, just keep pushing. Right here, Yon engages on us. We're gonna ult to right next to where his E is, so that we could always just keep hitting him when he comes back. Right, we don't have to be afraid. And that's just the damage of the build. Once you have Q evolve, it's like really easy to kill targets who don't really expect that damage coming from you. And then when you kill someone on the side like this, just keep pushing. So now we have a pretty big advantage, and we started moving mid lane here. Our Orianna wanted to go bot, so let's go mid. The important thing about being mid lane as an ADC is you should never overextend, right? If you're fed, or if you're even, all you have to do is just stand under turret and just farm and keep your mid tower alive. Mid tower, especially the tier 1, is so important because it just gives you so much vision and gives you so much agency in the game. If you always have it up, the enemies will always have to think twice before they try to do something in your jungle. So the only times you're supposed to walk up to enemy turrets like this is when you see pretty much everyone on the map, right? So I saw a lot of people, and so I just pushed a wave and see if I can get anything. You know, if we hit the turret once or twice and then just back off, it's fine. But the main goal is just to farm. We just have to keep our CS high and just look for any opportunities on the map if there are any. And then once we have, you know, a lot of gold, we can just take a recall, base, and come back with new items. Right here, I see that the enemy team are indeed rifting the mid turret here, so I'm going to TP back just in case there is a fight. Okay, Rel lands a good engage here. Let's just follow up. Don't dive in too quickly, just wait for an opportunity. There we go. That's the team fight we needed for this game. After winning that fight, let's push this tier 2 turret, and that's probably going to be all we can get because we don't want to overstay. You never want to take too much, right? You don't want to overplay because that can easily throw the game. And so right here, our teammates got caught. 3 of them died. And now they're trying to do Otacon. I could just try to poke, but it's an awkward angle because they're standing and positioning away from me, right? They're using Otacon to block my W, so it's kind of hard. I can just wait for my Jace though since he's TPing. Karma gets caught, we kill Karma first, and we can look onto the people who are probably going to try and recall. So just shoot a W here, probably will hit someone because they're just stacked together. I dived in immediately, which I probably should have waited, honestly. I could have been more patient here, but me dying 1 for 4 is, you know, it's not the worst, but I did give over a big shutdown. If I were to do it again, I would definitely be more patient. I would wait for my second W and try to hit that second W before going in. So just things to reflect on, right? Don't dive in too fast as Kai'Sa. With this build, you can always just hold your W hold your R and just wait for your W again, right? Wait for a good opportunity to go in or you get one shot like I just did. So we spawned again and now we're gonna look for a fight, but if there's no fight, we're gonna keep farming. It's just very standard, right? Same thing as you've always done, and we see an opportunity on the side lane here with Jace top, right? We have Kai'Sa ult, so we can always just go in if anyone lands a CC. We're gonna help out our Jace here. We'll kill the Renekton and let's just look to go back mid. We see our teammates fighting bot lane, so let's go down. I don't think it is the best fight, especially if I missed W in the beginning and our Chall is dead. But it's kind of a hard place to get out of now. I don't have flash. And then we end up actually doing a small throw over here. If my teammates can get out, it's probably not the worst, since our Jace did get a tier 2 tower, but that right there was probably the worst decision I made this game. I think I should have just probably stayed mid, or if I, rotated down and I saw that the fight was bad, I shouldn't have taken that blast cone. I should just run back mid, clear waves, and just keep doing the same thing, right? So discipline is really important. As a strong ADC, if you have wave clear, if you have, self-peel, like Kai'Sa does, you can just stay mid permanently and make sure the enemies can never make a play mid lane. So we spawn again, and the enemies get Inferno Drake here, but it's fine, we can always play for the fight. As usual, stand far away from the fight if there are threats, and if your teammates are dying, then, my first reaction here is to clear mid wave, because I want to make sure that the enemies can't push mid, and then look to the fight again. Okay, and now we can actually engage. Alright, so we end up killing and acing them here. I probably could have been there earlier for my teammates, but the fight was looking sketchy, and I should also make sure that I look sooner. Maybe I was actually just going in too late, right? So, a lot of things to consider here. The enemies get caught again after we get Baron, and honestly we should probably be able to end this game if we end up killing like 3 or 4 of them right here. But as per usual, just use W as Kai'Sa. You don't have to run in unless the enemies give you free range. And then we just keep holding our angles, use W, hit the turret when we can. But you start to see how much this Kai'Sa poke really does hurt, even with only 1 AP item. We fight here again. I'm just gonna play for killing the enemies. I want to clean up. But after Viego gets a reset, I just start to run. I don't think I can beat him right now because I have nothing. I don't even have E-Evolve, right? No ult, no E-Evolve, it's really hard. Miss a W here, which is kind of a blunder when I walk back in. That was my bad, once again, positioning gap. But overall, very worth for us because we killed a lot of people. We got 2 inhibs. And on the next fight, we should be able to close out the game. Because Kai'Sa is just so good at sieging, I can just wither them down. And then they won't be able to play the game in their own base if I just keep hitting my Ws. So my teammates end up getting caught here while trying to end the game, but it's all good. I don't think it's a big problem. We just have to make sure we don't do that over and over. Like, don't start a domino effect. Just try to group up and end the game. Now this is a dragon fight. Objective fights are where this build shines the most, in my opinion, right? Because the Kai'Sa W poke is pretty crazy in these fights, so we just have to stand on the side and wait. We could kind of just like auto as well, but our job is not to auto. You have to remember, we can only auto when we're allowed to, right? If it's like completely free, but going too close as Kai'Sa in this build is probably just like one of the worst decisions. Since we killed a lot of them, I'm just gonna walk into their base here and try to see if we can end the game. Be a little bit careful though, always try to dodge the Victor poke before doing anything, because we don't have any sustain, and just try to W the Victor. But unfortunately, I think we don't have enough damage to end, so we have to back off here, but it's all good. And you have to always remember that when you have the upper hand and you have their open nexus, you just have to calm down. Don't try to end ASAP, right? Play for the win and not like for the dopamine. So we back off here, and we're just gonna try and end on the next fight. Renekton ends up getting caught here. He's alone, so we can always just walk up to him and just kill him. I end up buying Rallies here because I think I have enough damage. I just want more utility, right? So I bought Rallies to slow them. If I hit a W, that almost guarantees that I will hit a second W on them. So it's really good utility. Right here, I kind of get baited because it says that the tower is 0 HP, and I was like, oh, is that a bug, right? Can I just end? And when I TB down, I see that the tower is actually max HP, so thank you Riot Games for that one. It was like kind of strange, and I thought I messed up, but it's all good since the enemy team all died. And we do end up closing this game out anyways. So if you have any questions, any comments about this build, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.